This guy said, stop looking at the China booth. This is continuously your worst take. Everything else I agree with you on, but you were so wrong about China and their government. Please look up their democracy index. Bro, he said look up the democracy index, dude. Oh, well, I guess you're right. You're right. They got little democracy. We on the other hand, our democracy is so high. Like we're fucking killing it on the democracy that we have here. Like, how do you agree with everything else I say if you think that, like, how you don't agree with anything I say if you're going to pull some shit like look up the Chinese democracy index? Like, do you just come in here every day and don't listen to anything that I'm saying with respect to America's supposed democracy? Your worst take has always been China's a democracy. Wait, I've never even said that. I didn't even say that. But to be fair, I don't think America is a democracy either. What is the democracy matrix ranking? We can't even we can't even do well we can't even perform well in our own metrics that we made, dude. That's awesome. It's below Israel, which is also fucking hilarious. Where's the Chinese democracy index? Where is it? Where's China? Wait, where the fuck is China? Did I skip it? What's going on? Oh my God. Bro. Oh. Oh, yeah. Bro, is below. It's below Somalia. Palestine is 160. Wow. It's nice of them to recognize Palestine / West Bank, only to put them at at the bottom of the list. Wow. Perhaps they deserve being existing under an apartheid state. You know, they hate democracy. Oh, I love this, dude. Thank you. Wait, Palestine, Gaza. Oh, they even separated it. Guys, would you be shocked if I told you that the world's largest open air prison that is just basically a bunch of like under 20-year-olds living in fucking bombed out buildings that has no like access to water that's being controlled or electricity, all of that's being controlled by an apartheid state that wants to fucking ethnically cleanse them, is ranking very low on the democracy index. This is... Someone should do something about this. Where's Israel on the list? Above the United States of America, as a matter of fact. at there's so much on this list that's hilarious. Israel is at number 35. I want to know, wait, what are the fucking metrics of this? How do they do this? Conceptualization, elaboration of democracy, operationalization, aggregation. USA is a deficient democracy, by the way. I mean, that part is true. It's not even bad. Like, that part does make sense. It makes it additionally funny. It does make it additionally funny, though. Like, even before I saw the Palestine mention, which is hilarious, other logs from the anti-China. Is peace stored in the balls? I mean, that part is... That's a good question. These are productive questions. America is a flawed democracy in here. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it and I believe it. Wait, I want to know where China is on this list. Is it still in the bottom? Afghanistan is the worst now. Myanmar, second worst. North Korea, third worst. Central African Republic. Syria. Democratic Republic of Congo. Damn, China has made it up the list a little bit, dude. Damn. Do they still classify Palestine separately? Cuba is a 139. Vietnam is 138. Glad that the United Arab Emirates has more freedoms than China does. Bro, this is like half of the bottom of this list is just like what America did. Putting Cuba on par with Haiti is insane. Also, 4 ranks in between Haiti and Cuba with respect to how it's run. Cuba literally just like codified. What didn't they just codify fucking LGBT rights? Like this past year? While in the United States of America, they're fucking trying to find new and imaginative ways of like killing trans people. What the fuck? What are we? What is happening here? Isn't it wild that Vietnam is low? Is that low as well? I don't even... The problem here is I don't understand what they mean by... All right, here, let's look at full definition. Full democracies and nations with civil liberties and fundamental political freedoms are not only respected but reinforced by a political culture conducive to the thriving of democratic principles. These nations have a valid system of governmental checks and balances, an independent judiciary whose decisions are enforced, governments that function adequately, and diverse and independent media. This is probably what knocks out half of like America's official enemies off of that index in its entirety. If you have any sort of control or restriction over media, which we do too, for the record, but like not as openly as other countries do. These nations only have limited problems in democratic functioning. Elections are fair and free. Hybrid regimes are electoral or regular electoral frauds, preventing them from being fair and free democracies. Authoritarian regimes are nations where political pluralism is non-existent or severely limited. Well, I would go so far as to say that political pluralism is non-existent or severely limited in the United States of America. As a matter of fact, 90% of my commentary revolves around this reality. What do I mean by this? I don't care how many parties the United States of America has. If they're advocating and agitating for the same exact principles, if they're defending the same exact principles, then who gives a fuck if you have a false choice? I would go so far as to say the UK is similar. Canada is pretty similar too. There are edge parties, but they are no different than the Russian structure, right? Where there are controlled opposition parties that Vladimir Putin almost entirely controls. And then there are other parties that everybody understands is still under the control of Vladimir Putin, but exist, like the Communist Party, right? And very rarely are they allowed to speak out against Vladimir Putin. But ultimately, they are all aligned on the same goal, on the same agenda. In China, you have the Chinese Communist Party, but that's it. Doesn't matter. The function is still the same. So instead of looking at the aesthetics of how governance works in any of these nations, I like to look at the outcomes, who the government is seeking to defend, who the government is actually actively uplifting. I look at economic development, okay? And where economic development is going. Is there a concept of prosperity? Who are they protecting? Why are they protecting? Who they're protecting? And what they're doing with the wealth that they are accumulating. In the United States of America, if you were to look at it from the material realities of wealth distribution, okay? If you look at the wealth distribution, for example, all the wealth that we generate in comparison to how insanely impoverished certain areas are, you realize that it's not actually meeting the medal. It doesn't matter if you think you can vote for the blue guys or the red guys. It's just still continuing in the way that it does. Now, people will be quick to say, do you also look at the genocide of Uyghurs, right? Were there re-education camps? Absolutely. But you are saying that from literally the number one jailer on the planet. The United States of America is oftentimes considered one of the freest nations on earth. Free for who is a question I have to ask you. Okay? That is an insane that's an insane thing to say. The United States of America also does infinitely worse shit that China could ever imagine doing to the fucking Uyghurs, to Muslim people overseas, all around the planet, as a matter of fact. So how the fuck are we comparing that? Where does that factor in with respect to the democratic process there? We have legalized slavery here. We have work camps, right? In the same way that you would consider it if it was a foreign enemy. Okay? Our foreign enemies always have gulags. In America, slavery is codified, institutionalized as a part of the fucking Constitution. And yet, that is legal. In the Eastern world, our Orientalized attitudes indicate that they have bribery, and that's bad. In the Western world, we codified the bribery in the form of lobbying and corporate donations. So that's different. It's good. It's fair. It's controlled. It's what we do. We're not barbarians. We don't do bribery like they do in Pakistan or in India. We have super PACs. We have 501c4s. How dare you? We codified our bribery. They have work camps. They have gulags. We have codified and institutionalized our slavery. We don't even hide it. We openly state it in the 13th Amendment. Slavery is an acceptable form of punishment. We talk about how these other nation states are absolutely police states. Constant surveillance, round the fucking clock. We not only surveil our own citizens, okay? We also surveil our allies. We don't even just surveil our enemies, our foreign adversaries. We surveil our allies too. Okay? So when you come to me with a list like this, yes, there are differences especially as it pertains to free speech. And by that, I mean not the fucking American understanding of free speech, okay? I'm not talking about, the freedom to say the N-word without any scrutiny whatsoever, or whatever the fuck Americans believe the free speech is, because America certainly does not have free speech for black people. We've seen this already. They don't have free speech for marginalized people. We've seen that already. You're poor, you're black, you're brown, and you advocate against the systems in place, you will get fucking hit in the face with a rubber bullet. You'll lose your fucking eye. If you try to fight back, they'll call it a riot. They'll push back even harder. In America, we talk about freedom of press. This is one area where there is a major difference in the United States of America in comparison to other countries, certainly. There is no free press in Cuba, I agree. Partially, that is because they are, in constant war with the world's largest imperial power in their backyard that has never once loosened the restrictions that it placed upon them in an act of unjustifiable collective punishment for the crime of not maintaining its dictatorship that we actually gave guns to, gave Batista weapons so he could keep the sugar plantations and keep Cuba a nice little tourist destination for the American wealthy. Okay? And then when he was overthrown, we decided they're our enemy number one and put them under this blockade that has yet to change. No matter how unjustifiable it is, no matter how cruel it is. But even beyond that, yes, we have freedom of the press here. Except when we have freedom of the press here, again, all matter of media, just like both of our parties, align on the same fucking values. When it comes down to it, you go on MSNBC, you go on CNN, there is a narrowly defined, acceptable box of ideas that you can preach. You go outside of that, to the left, if you dare to go outside of that and you go to the fucking left a little bit, you advocate for social democratic marginal reforms that many countries already happen to have. All of a sudden, they will bully you. They'll bash you. They'll say you're a fucking fake socialist like Bernie Sanders. He's got 3 houses. He wants health care, but he's selling a fucking book. You go outside of that narrowly defined box without actually harming hierarchical powers, the hierarchical order, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you get a puff piece in comparison to that. Okay? So even though there is the false notion of choice in the United States of America with your consumption of media or with the 35 different brands of cookies that you can purchase at the grocery store that's still being made by the 6, multinational corporations, okay? They give you this false choice, like you actually are doing something with your life, which I don't even disagree with. I think that's a great thing. For the record, I love that part of neoliberalism. Okay? If you are to look at the situation here and compare it to other countries as it pertains to the material realities of the working poor, the United States is nowhere near lapping any of these other countries. If you look at the cruelty that China is subjecting, the Uyghurs to, and then you compare that to what America has done in Iraq, what America has done in even Syria, what the roles that it has played there, in Afghanistan, all around the fucking nation. Just those are 3 that I'm immediately, Iran. I mean, that's nothing. It's nothing. And then look at domestically how we have treated indigenous populations in this country. You get a better understanding that, like, we already did way worse shit than China could ever do to the fucking Uyghurs, which they did. They did some bad shit. I agree. Okay? And then you talk about slavery and how Western colonies or Western colonial superpowers have industrialized and collectivized over the course of 400 years of slavery and imperialism and all of its exploits. And then you compare that to, like, literally whataboutism. It's not whataboutism. We are making direct comparisons between all of these countries. Am I looking at authoritarian regimes right now? A list that features both the United States of America, other Western nations, and also all of America's enemies. You can't say it's whataboutism if we are making a direct comparison between these countries in the list that we're looking at. Stream in China, Pepela. Well, hopefully I will one day. I would love to do that. But make no mistake, I come from Turkey. I do not have the same amenities and the same freedoms in Turkey as I do in the United States of America. That's one of the benefits of living in the imperial core. When you are inside of the most powerful nation on the history of Earth, on the history of the fucking planet, the most powerful nation on the planet that is doing so much death and destruction overseas, they let you say some fucked up shit about the nation state itself, and they don't even think about it too much. You get it? The whole freedom index is literally an alternative version of the law. Didn't explicitly say the N word, so it isn't racist. It's bullshit defined by the West to make itself look better. Yeah. Because illusion of freedom is America's power? No, illusion of freedom is something that America can also get away with doing. Because ultimately, it's like a minor amenity at the end of the day because it doesn't move the fucking needle in real tangible ways. I can donate as much as I want to labor strike funds. I can try to push for unionization as much as I want. But ultimately, I'm a drop in the fucking ocean, okay? I'm not even a drop in the bucket. I'm a drop in the goddamn ocean when the rest of the ocean is covered by billionaires who control the entire system and have designed this government in a way that suits their best interests. Profit seeking above all else. You get it? That's the reason why I can say whatever the fuck I can in the same way without the government really ever thinking about it. Because I don't move the needle. I will never be able to. It won't stop me from trying to, but that's the reality. That's why it's shocking to me. That's why it's shocking to me when someone who's like, I agree with you on everything, then comes at me with this like insane fucking list and says, well, this list that like Westerners have fucking created and cultivated to hide the shame of their existence and their unequal societies, or rather their benefits, them being beneficiaries of American imperialism, is actually the best way to look at other nation states and their existence. It's like objectively against everything that I advocate for. Does that make sense? They don't have to stop you because they know that they've trained everyone to yell at you if you disagree with how great America is. I mean, kind of. Do people who do move the needle in the U.S. get silenced by the government? I mean, they get belittled, or if they actually do move the needle in significant ways, look no further than people like Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning. You either get belittled, ruthlessly critiqued, endlessly, until you become a non-entity like Bernie Sanders, or if you are truly, engaging in direct action, whether it be MLK, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, then all of whom are black, by the way, and that's, of course, an additional layer on top of everything else. If you're truly working to actively dismantle a pre-existing hierarchy like white supremacy, glaringly obvious white supremacy, then they fucking execute you. That's it. You get fucking assassinated. Tell me more about how the United States of America is one of the freest nations on earth. Here's the thing. The United States of America is awesome because it reaps the benefits of being the capitalist overlord, the main imperialist power. Okay? I understand that. I recognize that. I speak on it regularly. You are conditioned into speaking in defense of American imperialism because you are a part of the labor aristocracy. You also, whether you directly recognize it or not, know that deep down inside, you reap the benefits of third world exploitation. What do I mean by that? Every single American knows about Indonesian child slavery. Every single American knows about the horrific workplace conditions of the global south or any other third world country that we are currently benefiting from. Okay? You all know it. Down to the fucking most racist motherfuckers, everyone recognizes that. Every single person. That's it. And most of us turn a blind eye to it. Others at least recognize it and say, hey, this is really fucked up. We should do something about it. But we're still ultimately powerless. But don't come in here and act like that's not real. Don't come in here and act like America plays no role in the existence of these nations. Because if America and the Western and the Western nations not play a role in that situation, in that unequal change or unequal trade that we engage in on a regular basis, we play no role in that with our capitalist corporations that are constantly profit seeking, okay, as the profit rates inevitably decline, as we look to new avenues of exploitation. If you think that we play no role in that, then you must believe the other thing. And you know what the other thing is. The other thing is that they are inferior and they did it to themselves. And there's no way for them to better themselves. They're simply in that condition because they haven't been able to figure it out. They haven't been able to fucking develop. But that's not how that works. You know? But fear not. Holy shit, that tweet broke my fucking brain from Ethan. What the fuck? H3 almost got 700K stolen from them? Bruh moment, illegal. That's funny. That's insane. Anyway. But fear not, chatter. That kind of rampant, corrupt exploitation doesn't just stay in the third world. You reap some of the benefits of it, but not all of them. Because that inevitably comes back, loops back around, and fucks you in the United States of America as well. That's why we have so much gig economy labor now. We have a lower union participation rate than a country like Chile that we fucking wrote the goddamn constitution for, that we destroyed. Okay? Chile's union participation rate is 15%. United States of America union participation is 11%. Okay? So that global exploitation inevitably comes back around and fucks you as well. You didn't even mention the IMF. It's too much. I don't want to get into everything. Okay? You get fucked over here in the United States of America, you don't even understand it. You still recognize some of the benefits of being a part of the labor aristocracy. So you think, all right, the system could be worse overall. It's the best we got. And then you sit there and you eat your fucking Oreos and you shut the fuck up and you think, no, it is the best country on the planet. Not the best country on the planet. It's the most bloodthirsty, most vulturous country on the planet. That's it. And I say this as someone who loves the Oreos, and I say this as someone who also benefits tremendously from being able to say whatever the fuck I want. Someone who's been able to not only never even consider like possibly going to jail for the things that I'm saying, and this is a freedom I would not have in other countries, certainly, whether it be Turkey or whether it be China. Fuck it, maybe even Cuba, right? Of course, I don't have to fear that at all. Not only that, but I also even make money, tremendous amounts of money off of that, especially at the top of the hour when I serve you a 3-minute ad break. But that doesn't change the realities that I speak on. Just like the reality that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or by getting gifted a sub. Here is the 3-minute ad break now. Ain't no way Hasan, you can buy loads of different cookies in China. Man, I'm not even talking about that anymore. Yeah, China does the fucking commodity consumption thing fairly well. Maybe a little too well. MB Chaos, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Kelthus, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Weren't we watching a video? Isn't this a democracy index to unlock? I know. I can't believe we got there.